Hey guys, it's Ty with White Squirrel Woodworking, and today we're going to be reviewing the Micro-Jig Splitter.
Even a saw with a riving knife has its limitations. It can't be used with a zero clearance insert. And that's where the MJ Splitter comes in.
So if you have an old table saw like I do, and you do not have a riving knife and cannot add a riving knife.
Many older table saws don't have a riving knife, an essential safety feature for preventing kickback. Yikes.
This is an amazing option, and I am so excited that Micro-Jig was kind enough to send me this product. Now, that being said, they did not pay me in any way to say anything positive about this. When I reached out to them directly saying that I want to try this product, they said that they would send it to me for free, and I told them that I would give them an honest, non-biased review. And that goes along with any product that I talk about. If you go to the link in my bio, I have links to products that I use on a daily basis. I've tested them, I've tried them, I've paired them against other companies, and I believe that they are my favorite products for one reason or another. Like Boss Dog Wood Glue or Maverick Abrasives. If you guys want to see a bit more in-depth reviews on the tools that I constantly use, then check out my Patreon. I'm going to try to do little update videos after, stuff that's not enough to be a full-length YouTube video. I appreciate it if you donate, but not obligated in any way. Enough rambling about that. Let's open up this bad boy. I have everything unboxed. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first step that was shown to me on these lovely instructions, we need to make a little plate that will go into the hole of my table saw, so that way we can cut out the kerf and attach the pieces to that to act like the new riving knife. So let's get into it. Starting things off, I'm going to use my jointer to create a flat face on this rough sawn chunk of walnut. Next, I'm going to measure with a pair of calipers how thick the actual plate needs to be, and I can take that directly to my DRO and set the DRO to 0 on the exact decimal point that I need, so I don't even have to think about it. That way, I can take multiple passes on thicker settings and work my way back down to get the DRO to 0. That prevents me from taking too much material off. Now, even though this planer is an absolute beast, you still don't want to take more than a 1/4 inch off. Next thing I'm going to do is take out my old throat plate and use that as a template so I can get the curves down on the new zero clearance insert. Now, normally people just pop their zero clearance insert into the throat hole and then raise the blade up through it so that it'll fit perfectly. But my blade doesn't go that far down, so I actually had to cut it out using the fence like this, and then slide it in the hole. Next, I'm going to cut a piece of 1/2 inch plywood, 5 inches wide, 15 inches long, and make a mark 3 inches from the end, then set my fence to exactly 3 inches. Now, with the blade about 1/8 of an inch higher than the 1/2 inch plywood, you are going to carefully cut all the way up to your line that you have marked out. These next couple steps will vary depending on how you're going to set up your MJ splitters. I will be using one splitter and one kerf keeper, so that means I'm going to adjust this little slidey piece all the way to the right towards the fence. Now you're going to attach the alignment jig to the plywood itself. This will allow you to reuse it for all your different zero clearance inserts. Now I'm going to go ahead and raise my blade to 3 inches high and match that little piece of carbine with the 3 inch mark on the jig. All that's left to do is to drill out the holes. Now in the instructions it says to clamp down the board somehow. I wasn't exactly sure how to do that, so I just held it and it definitely wobbled a little bit, so I'd highly recommend clamping it. You can really hear how nice and tight those guys fit in there. With the MJ Splitter Pro Kit, there's a bunch of different configurations that you can use. Now, I'm using a +2 in the front. That means that it is 6/1000ths of an inch bigger than the kerf on that front piece, which acts like a featherboard and actually pushes it against the fence, which is a really cool feature because I use featherboards all the time in my shop on all of my different big tools. It creates a much cleaner and much safer cut. Featherboards apply a lot of pressure on the board, so if you have your featherboard too far back, then it'll put all that pressure on the blade, which will lead to a lot of burning and possibly kickback. But the MJ Splitter completely eliminates that danger because it only applies pressure to the workpiece touching the fence. The MJ Splitter Pro Kit also has this really cool feature called a kerf keeper, and what it does is if your board has a lot of tension in it and starts pinching the back of the blade, then this little piece will pop out, acting like a physical stop to keep the boards from sliding together and pinching your blade. It's also a great visual indicator. Now, there is one side to the MJ Splitter versus a riving knife, and that is actually attached to that zero clearance insert plate, which is kind of a bummer because since my table saw is attached to my workbench, a lot of the times I will take off this fence, drop this blade down, and I will use this entire surface as my workbench. So it's kind of a bummer that this doesn't just automatically lower down, but these little pieces are so easy to pop out that it's not really much of an issue, because whenever I want to use the entire surface, it's just one extra step. All I do is pop these two out and then I can set them down there with my fence. And in my opinion, it's worth the additional safety that these will provide. It'll cut better. Like, you don't have to set up 2 feather boards every time. You can just use this instead. It's totally worth it. In my opinion, this is a win. Besides it being a little time consuming to set up the initial one, once you have that jig built, I mean, you could have these holes drilled super fast on all your new zero clearance inserts. So really, there's not much of a downside to it. It's just a good product, and it's making my table saw way safer. And if you don't have a riving knife, or if you want the extra support of an additional feather board like pressure, then definitely check this product out. I would highly recommend it. It's pretty affordable for what it is, and it just makes it genuinely safer. Now, if you guys want to go ahead and improve your table saw, then check out the link that I have in the description down below. It'll take you directly to their website where you'll have a 10% discount, and I'll get a little kickback that'll help support my channel. Now, if you guys want to see all of the tools I have and what I think about them, then go ahead and hit that video right there. It is a full shop tour of my shop, and I go through all the tools I have and what I think about them.
The included kerf keepers auto-eject to remain within the kerf. This keeps the kerf spread apart and serves as an indication that you're working with reactive wood. The MJ Splitter Steel Pro features an extremely rigid steel core and is available in a thin kerf and a full kerf version.